You walk into a fancy restaurant with your boss, your clients, and everyone is looking at the menu. The waiter comes over and asks, "Do you have any dietary requirements?" And you freeze. You know what you need to say, but the words just do not come out right. Sound familiar? Welcome to Next Level English, the podcast that takes your English from classroom level to real-world confidence. I am your host, Maya, and with me, as always, is my amazing co-host, Tom.
Hey everyone, great to be here. And Maya, that scenario you just described, that is so real. So many of our listeners work in international business settings, and a business dinner is one of those moments where your English has to work perfectly. You cannot fake it, you cannot Google it in the middle of the conversation.
Exactly. And today we are going all in on one very specific and very important skill: how to explain your dietary needs confidently in a business dinner setting. Whether you are vegetarian, you have a food allergy, you keep halal or kosher, or you simply do not eat certain foods, you need the English to handle this situation like a professional.
And this is not just about food. This is about impression. How you communicate at a business dinner tells people a lot about you. If you stumble over your words or stay quiet and then eat something that makes you sick later, that is not good for you or for your professional image.
So let us break this down the next level English way. We're going to give you real chunks, real sentences, and real vocabulary. And we are going to repeat the most important ones so they stick in your brain. Let us start with the very first moment. You are invited to a business dinner. Maybe your colleague sends you an email or calls you. What do you say right there before you even arrive at the restaurant?
This is actually the best time to bring up your dietary needs, right at the beginning. And the chunk you want to use here is, "I just want to give you a heads up." Let me say that again. I just want to give you a heads up. This means I want to tell you something useful in advance. It's a very natural, polite, professional phrase. So you might say, "I just want to give you a heads up, I'm vegetarian, so if you need to choose a restaurant, somewhere with good vegetarian options would be great."
I love that phrase. I just want to give you a heads up. It's friendly, it's not demanding, and it puts the information out there without making a big deal of it. And notice how Tom used it in a full sentence. I just want to give you a heads up. I'm vegetarian, so if you need to choose a restaurant, somewhere with good vegetarian options would be great. Say it with us. I just want to give you a heads up. Say it one more time in your head. I just want to give you a heads up. That chunk is going into your business English toolkit today.
Now let's fast forward. You're at the dinner, you're sitting down, the waiter comes to take your order, or maybe a colleague asks you, "What are you having?" This is your moment. And here's where a lot of learners go wrong. They either say nothing or they say something that sounds too medical or too dramatic.
Right. Saying, "I cannot eat meat because of my religion" in a business context is not wrong, but it's a lot of private information. You don't always need to explain why. You just need to be clear about what you need. So the vocabulary we want to focus on here is the phrase, "I tend to avoid." I tend to avoid. This is so smooth. It's soft, it's confident, and it doesn't require any explanation.
For example, you can say, "I tend to avoid red meat, so I'll probably go with the fish or the salad." Or, "I tend to avoid dairy, so could you tell me which dishes are dairy-free?" I tend to avoid. Beautiful phrase. Not aggressive, not overly apologetic, just clear and professional. Say it once more. I tend to avoid. Use that in your next dinner conversation.
Now, let's talk about allergies, because this is where the language needs to be a little stronger. If you have a food allergy, this is not the time to be soft or vague. You need to be clear. The sentence structure you need here is, I have a blank allergy, so I need to make sure there is no blank in my dish. I have a blank allergy, so I need to make sure there is no blank in my dish.
So you might say, "I have a nut allergy, so I need to make sure there are no nuts in my dish." Or, "I have a shellfish allergy, so I need to ask about the ingredients in the sauce." Notice the structure. I have a blank allergy, so I need to blank. That "so I need to" part is very important. It shows cause and effect. It sounds educated and confident, not panicked, not apologetic, just clear.
And here's something really important for our listeners. In English, especially in professional settings, being direct about a medical need is completely acceptable and even respected. You don't need to say sorry before you mention an allergy. A lot of our learners add sorry in front of everything. Sorry, I have an allergy. You don't need that sorry. Just say, I have a nut allergy and I just want to check the ingredients. That's confident. That's professional. That's next to level English.
Yes, drop the sorry. You are not doing anything wrong by having an allergy. Now let's move into another common situation. What if the restaurant doesn't have a great option for you? What do you say then? This is where learners really struggle because they either go silent or they start over apologizing.
The chunk we love for this situation is, would it be possible to? Would it be possible to? This is one of the most powerful, polite request structures in professional English. Would it be possible to have the chicken without the cream sauce? Or would it be possible to substitute the pasta for vegetables? Would it be possible to? Say it again. Would it be possible to? This phrase shows you're flexible, solution-focused, and professional. It doesn't complain, it doesn't demand, it asks for a solution.
And this works not just with the waiter. If you're at a business dinner where the food is pre-ordered, maybe a buffet or a set menu, you can use this with your host. Would it be possible to arrange a vegetarian option for me? I should have mentioned it earlier. That's graceful, that's professional, and your host will appreciate you handled it so smoothly.
Now, Tom, let us talk about something that happens so often at business dinners. Your colleague or your client notices you are not eating certain things, and they ask, oh, do you not eat meat, or are you on a diet? How do you answer that in a way that is friendly, but also keeps things professional?
Great point. So the vocabulary we want here is the expression, it is just a personal preference. It is just a personal preference. This is a polite, neutral way to close down that conversation without being rude. You can say, I do not eat pork. It is just a personal preference. Or, I avoid alcohol with meals. It is just a personal preference. It is just a personal preference. 3 times now. It is just a personal preference. That phrase signals that the topic is finished and you are moving on. Very smooth.
And if someone keeps pushing, if they say, but why? Or, oh, come on, just try it. You can add one more sentence. I appreciate it, but I'm going to stick with what I have. I'm going to stick with what I have. That is polite, that is firm, and that is final. In professional English, this kind of quiet confidence is deeply respected.
Let me also add a vocabulary word that's really useful here. The word is dietary. D-I-E-T-A-R-Y. Dietary. This is the adjective form of diet, but in professional English, it refers to food choices and restrictions, not weight loss. So you might hear, do you have any dietary restrictions? Or are there any dietary requirements I should know about? And your answer might be, yes, I have a few dietary restrictions. I do not eat shellfish or pork. The word dietary. Say it clearly. Dietary restrictions. That phrase alone will make you sound like a native professional speaker at any business dinner table.
And now we want to give you a full example, a complete real-world scenario. Tom, let us walk through it together. Imagine you and I are at a business dinner with a client from overseas.
Perfect, so I'm the client. I'll start. Maya, are you ready to order? This restaurant is famous for their seafood platter.
That sounds wonderful. I just want to give you a heads up. I tend to avoid shellfish, but please go ahead and order the platter for the table. I'll have a look and see what works for me, or I might ask the waiter if there's a fish option without shellfish.
Oh, of course. I did not know. Is it an allergy?
Yes, I have a shellfish allergy, so I always need to check. But please do not worry, it's very easy to manage. Would it be possible to ask the waiter about the catch of the day? That's usually a safe option for me.
Absolutely. Waiter, could we get some information about today's specials? My colleague has a shellfish allergy.
See how naturally that flowed? No drama, no long explanation, just clear, confident language. I just want to give you a heads up. I tend to avoid. I have a shellfish allergy. Would it be possible to? All of the chunks we learned today used in one real conversation.
And notice that Maya never said sorry once. She was clear, she was warm, and she kept the conversation moving forward. That's the goal, not just the words, but the energy behind the words. Confident but not aggressive, clear but not cold.
Let us do a quick review of everything we learned today, because repetition is how your brain builds memory. The first chunk was, I just want to give you a heads up. Use this when you're letting someone know about your dietary needs in advance. I just want to give you a heads up.
The second expression was, I tend to avoid. Smooth, soft, professional. I tend to avoid red meat. I tend to avoid dairy. I tend to avoid. Use it when you don't need to go into detail about why you don't eat something.
Third, the allergy sentence structure. I have a blank allergy, so I need to make sure there is no blank in my dish. Strong, clear, and necessary when your health is involved. I have a nut allergy, so I need to make sure there are no nuts in my dish.
Fourth, would it be possible to? The polite request that gets results. Would it be possible to have this without the sauce? Would it be possible to substitute this for vegetables? Flexible, solution-focused, professional.
Fifth, it's just a personal preference, the phrase that closes the conversation politely. I don't eat pork, it's just a personal preference. And if you need to hold your ground, I appreciate it, but I'm going to stick with what I have.
And the word of the episode, dietary. Dietary restrictions, dietary requirements, dietary preferences. Learn this word and you will sound completely at home in any professional food conversation.
Oh, one last thing before we wrap up. Business dinners aren't just about the food, they're about the relationship. And when you handle something personal like a dietary need with grace and confidence, your colleagues and clients notice. They see someone who is calm under pressure, someone who communicates clearly, someone who is ready for the international stage.
That's exactly what Next Level English is all about. Not just speaking correctly, but speaking powerfully, speaking in a way that opens doors for you.
So practice these chunks this week. Say them out loud. Imagine you're at a restaurant. Run through the dialogue in your head. The more you rehearse it, the more natural it will feel when the real moment comes. And the real moment always comes.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. If this episode helped you, share it with one person in your life who is working on their business English. One person. That's all it takes to grow this community.
And if you want more episodes just like this one, follow Next Level English wherever you listen to your podcasts. We release new episodes every week, and every single episode gives you the tools to take your English one step higher. I'm Maya.
And I'm Tom.
And this has been Next Level English. We'll see you in the next episode. Keep practicing, keep growing, and remember, fluency isn't a gift, it's a skill, and you're building it every single day.